You're listening to Leadership Powered by Common Sense with your host, Doug Thorpe. Here's Doug.
Hello again, everyone. This is Doug Thorpe, and you're listening to another episode of Leadership Powered by Common Sense. Today, we're going to continue our journey talking a little bit about mindfulness and your state of mind and in your leadership role. But my guest in this episode is a lifelong entrepreneur. He's got a great and amazing business that we're going to talk about, but he also has his own podcast and does a lot of advisory help and coaching in the area of mindset and really making all that click. His name is Jeremy Fouts. He's out of the Dallas area. Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Well, Doug, thank you for the invitation, man. I'm excited to be on your podcast. I love your work and what you do, and cannot wait to share my story with you today.
Yeah, so as is a little bit of a tradition, I do like to ask guests to share, if they will, a little bit of their journey into their professional life and adulthood and all that fun stuff. And basically, how did you get to where you are today?
Well, Doug, I'll do my best to try to condense it. I don't know if we have time for the whole story, but you know, I grew up on a farm and ranch in Oklahoma and had great Christian parents. You know, they taught me so many values. Probably the best two was treat others like you want to be treated, and then work hard. And that's something that I took on into my young adulthood. I thought that pro sports was going to be my way out of that little 2,000 people town, and due to injuries and things like that, it didn't allow me to do that. But went ahead and went to college, got a degree. I had a beautiful high school sweetheart, and the dad said, only way you're marrying my daughter is to get a college degree. So I didn't really like college, but I went to college. I knew I couldn't find anything better than her. And so I went to college, got a degree in soil sciences, agronomy. The only thing really I knew and wanted to pursue was, you know, being a sports athlete or being in agriculture. So ended up doing that after college, bought some farmland, and was doing real well. And through some tragedies, with some things I could not control, through some soil-borne diseases, I lost a lot of income and decided to venture into direct sales with nutrition. And that was a way for me to supplement my income, and really never been in sales, Doug. I've always just worked hard, but that time of my life really opened my mind up to personal development, leadership, you know, how to lead team, how to take people and, you know, get them to where they wanted to get to in life. And I learned a lot in that journey. Was able to make a lot of income, and, you know, thought that I would be with that company forever, but the founder passed away and left the business with someone else, and things didn't work out. And so I stepped out of that and started a construction company, and did really, really well in construction here in Dallas, Texas. And then the economy crashed in 2006, and that's when everything started changing. And then 2008, I started with another direct sales company and was fortunate enough to, you know, be the number one producer in that company and make millions and millions of dollars and do business in about 13 different countries, and, you know, lead about 230,000 people in my organization. And I come to a point again where I was ready to retire, and stepped away and built a ranch in Colorado with a couple thousand acres, and built a lodge with my wife and two boys. And I thought, really, Doug, that chapter of my life, I thought that was it. I had the money in the bank, and, you know, we was running a cattle ranch, and did that for about 5 years. And then after that, you know, with the man, I don't know, you know, who all's listening, but what I've learned, for me especially, you've got to have a mission. You've got to have a goal. You've got to have something that is pushing you. And that's when my wife and I chose to start a nutrition company ourselves, named Core Vive, and located here in Dallas, Texas. And it's been fun, not only offering good nutritional supplements to the marketplace, but also building a community of people that, you know, struggle with a lot of issues that a lot of people have, which is, you know, how do I, you know, approach my fitness? How do I understand nutrition? You know, how do I understand the mindset and being able to accomplish what it is that God's called me to accomplish? And so we've built a really good brand here with the company Core B by supplying a lot of the MLB teams with their hydrate product, a lot of military accounts. But the thing I'm more proud of is the community of people, whether it be through my company Core Vive or through my podcast, that I get to make a difference in. Because, as you and I are believers and believe the same, the only way to true happiness is be of service to others. And that's what I really get excited about every day, is getting up and thinking, how can I make an impact on someone's life?
Amen. That's right. And tell us the name of your show again, your podcast.
My podcast is called Hard Truth Podcast. And the reason that was important for me, Doug, is so many people, they are always looking for cheat codes, right? Whether it be in business, I know you're a businessman. They're looking for a cheat code in their diet plan. They're looking for a cheat code and trying to have quick success. And, I just wanted to be able to deliver a podcast that gave the truth. And that is, to build something great, it takes work. And it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of tenacity. And, we wanted to deliver the truth on the podcast of, it might not be all easy, but anything worthwhile is going to take some work, but it has an amazing reward.
For sure. Well, definitely something people ought to check out and get into it. Well, let's talk for a minute. When we were in the green room getting ready, we did talk about your work on mindset and state of mind and all that. So give us the kind of the flyover summary of your focus in that work.
Yeah, I mean, in mindset I'm a big believer. One of my favorite quotes is, if you conquer the mind, you'll conquer the world. And everything starts in the mind. I was working with a guy that was struggling a lot with using alcohol too much. And now he's about 75 days with no alcohol. And I started with him on his mindset, doing a good self-awareness. What is this alcohol doing good in your life? What is it providing you that you cannot have, a good life without the alcohol? How do we get this out of our life, and how can we elevate our life to the next level? And a lot of people think, I'm working with another guy with fitness. He has a problem with sugar and different things. And a lot of times people think, well, you just focus on fitness, you focus on not drinking, and that's all you need to do. And it starts, though, before you trying to start conquering what it is you want to conquer. It starts with your mindset and getting down to a real good, approach of what it is I'm trying to accomplish. What are the daily disciplines, the non-negotiables that I have to do in order to defeat this giant? And a lot of people don't understand that mindset. Also, I work with a lot of baseball players, and educating them that, they will agree that mindset is 95% of it. But I asked them what they're doing physically, nutrition wise, and they're doing a lot of that approach, but then they're not doing anything to feed the mind. They're not doing anything to grow the mind. And, the mindset is just like a muscle that we have on our biceps or our thighs, anywhere. It's all about, okay, if we're going to grow that, we got to put the right things in our mind in order to grow that correctly. And if your mind is not growing, just like your muscles, then they're going the opposite direction. And that's not going to allow for any growth.
Yeah. I know there's a popular phrase in our part of the world that you need to avoid stinking thinking. And it is interesting how in the modern world, people grow up and they're pre-programmed even before they get to adulthood on the way to look at the world and think about things around them. And, you can get into some of the psychology related issues, like, people that show up always the victim, or people that look for the convenient excuses and rationalization and justification. And I'm thinking about, as many of my listeners know, back in the crash of '08, I had to close and take a company through bankruptcy because of that crash. And I took a major pivot in my life to create a nonprofit for job seekers, and it was a faith-based organization, non-denominational. But one of the big things I discovered, and I tell this story, I have told it a couple times here on the show, What I discovered over time, the population coming to our program usually fell out into three different groups. So it was a third, a third, and a third. A third of the people were not victims. They were going to be conquerors. They were going to dominate. They were going to find new work. They were going to repurpose their life. They were going to move forward. They were real curious and inspired about our teaching, our coaching that we were doing, and they would go get busy and get it done, and poof, it was no time before they would actually find a new job. There was a middle third that they got it. They were a little bit skeptical, not hyper motivated, but they still did the work and got it done. And then there was that last third. They wanted to argue with us about what we were teaching. They wanted to find excuses. They were still angry at the company that had let them go. They were just burdened with all this negativity and this horrible energy that sometimes we literally had to invite an individual to leave the session we were in because they were so disruptive to everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. The victim mindset, I talk about it often. You have to have the ability to evaluate where you are and own that responsibility. You have to have the ability to be able to say the choices I've made is the reason I'm in this situation. And that's one of the biggest things that people have to overcome. I read a book in my 20s. My life was not going where I wanted it to go, had a lot of different situations with debt and things that I was dealing with. And even in my 20s, I knew it wasn't okay to blame others, but I wanted to do that. And one of my favorite books for this topic is a book by Andy Andrews called The Traveler's Gift. And at the beginning of that book, I think anybody needs to read this book if you haven't already read it, Doug, but it talks about a guy is actually in a hospital room with his daughter that's sick. And he just got through losing his job. His wife just got through divorcing him. And I don't want to ruin the book for anyone, but he's feeling sorry for himself. He's got that victim mindset. Why did my boss let me go? Why did my wife leave me? Why did my daughter sick? And an angel come to him and basically brought it to his attention that he chose what college, he chose what degree, he chose to take the job, he chose to marry this lady, he chose to have a kid. And I'm a real firm believer in at 48 years old now, in all the things that I've built. I've owned a lot of companies. I've sold companies. I've did all the things. Is you have to have the ability to say that here's where I'm at because of the choices that I've made. And you're not going to go to that next level of where you can go in life until you take full ownership of those decisions that you've made.
I totally agree. I somewhat related to that as life unfolds, and I'm one of those guys that's a big believer in looking at life as a book. And there's chapters we some we write ourselves, others get written for us, but nonetheless, whatever circumstance you're in is only another chapter. It's not the end game. It's not the final result. There's always a possibility to turn the page. And I think there's a truth there that people need to find. I was coaching a gentleman recently, and he had a very successful career, has had a very successful career, and he was running into some adversity for a lot of reasons. I won't go into all the details, but I said, is this the first time you've ever experienced something like this in your corporate life? And he thought a minute and he goes, yeah, it really is. And I said, real sympathetic as a coach, I said, buckle up, Buttercup. Welcome to the big league.
Yeah.
I mean, you've accomplished all these things, and you're telling me you've never had adversity to get you there. You've never faced a headwind. Well,
yeah.
You got to look at this differently.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite, personal development individuals, he's not with us anymore. He's an older gentleman named Jim Rohn, but he always had a comment that says, don't wish it was easier, wish you was better.
Yeah.
And my take on adversity, I tell all the clients I work with, is adversity is either here, it just left, or it's on its way. And so our daily routine and what we're trying to do is become better So when we become better, when we have that adversity hit, we look at that as a challenge, not as a defeat. And we say, we are going to defeat this. It's not going to defeat us. And what determines that, though, is how we are doing on a daily basis from our mindset, all areas of our life. That way we can look at this adversity and say, I'm going to conquer this. And man, there's nothing that feels better than knowing that you have equipped yourself to take an adversity, look at it as a challenge, and go beat it. And that's what makes us better as businessmen, as men of God, of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Adversity is going to come, but can we equip ourselves to be able to conquer it?
Well, Jeremy, as you think about this, and I'm going to presuppose something here, but I think there's another dimension as leaders, and I think this is true for women as well as the men in the workforce and out in the world trying to do great things. You can't go it alone. You gotta have a sometimes maybe even self-made, but you gotta have a support network, kind of some accountability partners, buddies, or groups that you get involved in. So talk to us a little bit about your take on that kind of, development effort.
Yeah, I'll be glad to, Doug. I mean, first thing I'll say, and I know you've heard this before, is your sales will never outgrow your leadership. And so that's the reason I'm big. And I don't know this person that you're talking about, but more than likely that adversity is probably hitting him pretty hard because he's not continuing to grow. And so he's hit a ceiling, and I'm not saying that's his situation, but what I see a lot is they hit that ceiling because they're not continuing to grow. As far as being around the right people, I tell everyone that comes to me, they want this new life. Okay. They want better relationships. They want better fitness, better finances, all these different things. And one of the first things that I tell them, in order for you to have a new life, you have to get rid of the old life. And they look at me like, you mean I've got to get rid of all my friends? I'm not telling you have to get rid of all of your friends. What I'm saying is, if the majority of your friends are not going to support where you want to go, and what I mean is if they're trying to pull you to happy hour and you've committed on the weekends to spend more time in the gym, to spend more time in the office studying, to get past this, and they're continuing trying to pull you in a direction that, man, let's hit the golf course, let's hit this, then you're probably going to have to start surrounding yourself with a different group of people. I mean, we've all heard the truth testimony of if you're hanging around 5 people that are smokers, you're going to be the 6th one that's smoking. If you're hanging around 5 people that's broke, you're probably going to be the 6th one that's broke. Well, that also happens in the opposite. If you're hanging around 5 millionaires that really have daily disciplines and understand leadership and the importance of leadership, you're probably going to be the 6th that is successful and understands leadership. So, the good book says it best. There's power in numbers, and you don't need tons of good numbers. You don't need 100 people around you in your life in order to encourage you to go in the right direction. You just need 2 or 3 of like-minded individuals that say, hey, man, if that is what you're going for, I'm here to support you. And you start creating this network. I've got a group of men that I talk to pretty much on a daily basis that we are headed all in the right direction. We want to make an impact in this world. Some of them are actually entrepreneurs that own nutrition companies just like I do. A lot of people think, well, that's competition. No, it's not competition. Yeah, it might be in the marketplace when you look at my product next to their product, but as men, we're trying to encourage each other to help make an impact as much as we can in today's world. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I agree. And as you were talking, I was thinking of the other, nugget of wisdom out of the good book, iron sharpens iron. It takes that metal to make metal better. And if you're not willing to surround yourself or seek out that kind of guidance, you're going to fall short. I've often told the story. I had a blessing of a very wise mother. My father had died when I was young. And she had the wisdom to, instead of running out and getting remarried, she just started recruiting mentors for me. And, between scout leaders and others in the community that she was doing work with, I had a whole uh, stable of people that were willing to teach me the ways of the world and show me things and help me develop. I mean, everything from learning how to fish to do woodworking to playing tennis and golf and all those other things guys do. And I didn't want for anything in that father relationship, because I had a whole army of dads.
Right.
But at the core of it, it taught me the concept of mentorship. And as I got older, off to school, I wasn't afraid to walk up to somebody and say, you look like you got it going on in this area here.
Right.
Would you mind spending some time with me and tell me how you do that? Or where'd you learn how to do that? How did you get to be so good at that?
Yeah.
And I tell the story to this day. I'm 71 years old and I still have 3 guys I call on as mentors.
Absolutely. Mentorship is key. I mean, I talk to men about that all the time. And one of the things that I get from men is they say, well, I don't know who's going to be my mentor. And I said, well, my mentor started by listening to podcasts like yours, and reading books, and then I learned to network with those individuals that I looked up to, that really their values align with mine. Next thing you know, I'm in a similar network than what they are in. And so it's all about seeking out the men in your life that's going to give value to you. I say, don't spend your time around the suckers, the people that's just going to suck your time. Be around the people that are going to give value. And that is so crucial. I mean, I'm a quarter Cherokee Indian, and one of the things that the chief of the tribe always said is, my life is not complete unless I have mentored and groomed and taught all of my trades and all of the things that I need to teach someone else, for they can continue to carry on that tradition. And that's what I feel like where I'm at 48 years old. My wife and I have been extremely blessed and been able to take care of our finances correctly. But the reason for me doing the coaching, all the things that I'm doing, is I'm thinking, man, if I could make an impact on this man that has a problem with alcohol, now he's a better father, now he's more focused, better husband. I made an impact there, and it's going to have a ripple effect, because this guy is not going to take what I've taught him and keep it secret. He's going to go out and share his testimony. The individual that I'm working with that ended up, his career was about finished in baseball, but now he's went to the next level and one of the top producers in the league. He's going to take that mindset coaching and say, man, I can help pass this along to someone else. That's what I love about having that desire to be a mentor. And that is very crucial for no matter what stage you are in your life. Find good mentorship, people that have the right values and the right beliefs. And I promise you will do nothing but benefit, whether you pay them for as a coach, whether you read their books, follow their podcasts. But it's very crucial to get the right coaching from the right people.
Yeah, so true. Well, Jeremy, I want to pivot just a little bit. I also, when we were in the green room, we were talking about the development of your company, and I want to kind of put our entrepreneur hats on a minute. And can you just walk through the kind of the summary of where the idea for the company came from, what the journey was like, and sort of where you are today and what you're looking forward to?
Absolutely. Doug, I've always had a love for agriculture, like what I was talking to you about. And when I went to get my degree at Oklahoma State University, and my dad farmed, his dad farmed. I've always been a part of, the farming tradition. But I've recognized, in being in nutrition for 25 years and through my degrees, the problem that we are having in America with all of the, new diseases that come on a daily basis, pretty much, is a lack of deficiencies, because our soil has become depleted. Back when my great grandpa farmed, he'd plant spinach on a 40-acre field, and then he'd wait for 2 or 3 years, let the minerals be taken care of correctly, treat it with the right manure and different things that he needed. Now we just pretty much do phosphorus, nitrogen, and potash, and we forget about the other 52 minerals that the soil needs in order to produce the right, value from a nutrition standpoint in the produce and different things that we do. And then don't want to get me started on the meat factories and everything. It's always just pound them full of antibiotics. How in the world can in 6 to 8 weeks, a chicken be 8, 10 pounds? I mean, it's just what it is. But I've always had a love for nutrition. Obviously, like I mentioned, I made a lot of money in nutrition and when I retired. And I told my wife, I said, the reason I love nutrition is there's definitely a need for good supplementation. And we want to start a company that uses only USA ingredients and definitely tries to let the nutrition side be an introductory to really what fitness and mindset and everything can do once you put it all together. So we launched the company CoreVive 6 years ago. Been real fortunate to grow a company in a healthy manner, do things the right way, debt free, and it's really taken off a lot in the last couple of years. We, like I told you, we sell a lot of hydration products to military accounts, MLB teams, and a lot of different organizations are coming to us on a daily basis saying, we want your products. And I really love that. But like I mentioned to you in the green room, to me, what's more special is the thousands of consumers that just go directly to our website, purchase our products, jump in our community. We provide a fitness app for people to be able to track their workouts, for them to be able to track their nutrition. I also tune in my audience to my podcast, which really and truly is a way for them to not jump on and learn about CoreVive and the products, but more about how to take the mindset now and elevate your life to the next level. I have a new podcast coming out. We talked about, a lot of the things yesterday that men are struggling with, which anger is emotion, and how to talk about your different emotions. And I know it's going to be a pretty deep podcast, but a lot of men struggle with communicating correctly with their spouse, communicating correctly with their kids. And, a lot of that's because of our past of, we're taught as men, just keep everything in, don't share, just if it gets tough, just keep going, that type of thing. So, the company, the CoreVive, is definitely a way for me to start down that journey of educating people. Look, it's not just about taking care of your health that's so important for the good quality of life, but also you don't want to be a burden to your family later on if you don't take care of your health. And, I look at investing in your health as more critical than the iPhone you're carrying or the clothes you have on your back. I mean, we got to take care of the temple. And a lot of people say, well, I don't know if I can spend $2 or $3, $4 a day on my health. And I tell everyone, you know what, you can't afford not to, because you're going to spend the money on your health. You're either going to spend it and have a good quality of life, or you're going to take that retirement and cash in IRAs to try to buy back the health that you neglected. So I'm not one of those company nutrition owners that believe that a pill or a juice or a powder is going to solve your problems and be the miracle pill. That's not what we teach. We teach everyone that it's all about, supplementation is key. You definitely need good supplementation, but you also need a good diet. You also need a good workout plan, and you need to take care of the mindset.
Yeah, I love it. Great story, Jeremy. And thank you so much for sharing all that. And with that, folks, we are about up on time here today. But Jeremy, tell the folks the best way to get a hold of you if they're interested in knowing more.
Yeah, probably the easiest way, Doug, is going to my Instagram channel at Jeremy Fouts Leadership is the best way. Also go to my website, which is jeremyfouts.com, www.jeremyfouts.com. And that, go ahead and get on the email list. We don't blow people up on the email list. We just educate them with different podcasts coming on. Also, I've got a free download of what I believe really helps people. It's a 3-day water fast. I'm a big on water fast only for a lot of reasons. They can find a free ebook there to be able to learn the importance of that. But, I just try to bring value to people, Doug. That's the thing that really drives me, as I mentioned before, is how can I make the biggest impact on other people's lives? I've got two boys, one 17 and one 15. They're national athletes. I spend a lot of time traveling with them. I tell them often that my most important thing that I can do for them is at my funeral, them not worrying about how much money was left or anything. It's how many people can come up to them and say, your dad made a difference in my life. And so that's what I try to strive for on a daily basis.
I love it. I love it. Well, I really appreciate you sharing today, Jeremy. And we will have all that contact info in the show notes, folks, as we always do. So if you're out walking or driving and listening on your audio stream service, be sure to check out the show notes when you get back to a safe place. And likewise, we do have a video version of this show over on YouTube, channel by the same name, Leadership Powered by Common Sense. Hop over there, check out the archive, and see if there's any other topic you'd be interested in. Just drop me a note, let me know that. If you'd like to get a hold of me, just hop over to my website, which is dougthorpe.com. That's THORPE.com. A lot of links and a lot of downloads there you can check out as well. But with that, we're going to sign off, say goodbye. Go out there and make it a great day.
You've been listening to Leadership Powered by Common Sense, hosted by Doug Thorpe. If you would like to know more about the coaching and advisory services he provides, visit dougthorpe.com.